you very much for that welcome. Probably should have done this a second ago. Give me just a second. I'm going to get my presentation up here. There we go. Y'all let me know if you're unable to see that. Very happy to be here talking with everyone today. We are going to talk about building a better learning management system, one tiny block at a time. My name is Brad Lawless. Again, I run product marketing for Tiny MCE. As you can see, I have worn several different technical hats in my career before finally landing in product marketing, where I get to do two of my favorite things: learn about technology constantly, and then talk and teach others about it. Just thrilled again to be able to do this today with y'all. When I'm not geeking out about tech, you can usually find me putting miles on my bike in and around Northwest Arkansas, where I live with a couple of annoying dogs and a really bossy cat. So first off, what is Tiny MCE? Tiny MCE is the world's most trusted JavaScript component-rich text editor. When you see one of these editor text boxes on a website, there's a pretty good chance that it's Tiny MCE. We're used by millions of devs, and we power web applications for thousands of companies across the world. And honestly, we're one of the components that's been around longest. The editor just turned 20 this last year. So let's talk about rich text editors for a second. They're versatile tools that can be used in a wide variety of applications, from content management systems and email platforms to document management, CRM tools. RTEs are a trusted component of the modern digital landscape. They empower users through intuitive editing experiences and really make a good choice, not only for customer-facing tools, but a lot of our customers are using Tiny MCE for internal tooling. While we address a number of different use cases, we thought it might be good to kind of pick one for this event and carry it all the way through. At the end of this, I'm going to be talking about a couple of other sessions we have coming up, but in each one, we're going to be using the LMS use case. This presentation is a high-level version, and then we'll have more hands-on sessions with our DevRel manager later in the event. So let's just talk about LMS and what the opportunities and challenges are there. A good LMS system helps you standardize your training through centralized content, making sure that everyone in your organization is, not only reading the same materials, but understanding them the same way. You can improve onboarding, both for more HR purposes, if it's an internal tool. If you're building an LMS for e-learning, again, simple and intuitive, will get students on your system faster, keep them there longer, reduce training expenses, and most importantly, we can inspect what we expect. A good LMS will measure everything and help you figure out your ROI. Now, challenges, as with a lot of development, poor user experience is going to kill it, right? Clunky interfaces, limited formatting options, and inaccessible content just all create frustration points that are huge speed bumps to user adoption. Now, when you're a developer building a tool, you also need to think about who is going to be using it to create that content. So you want to have something complex tools, but that are easy to use for your content creators. And that can lead to overall improved content quality. If you have inconsistent formatting, broken links, errors, that all undermines credibility. Collaboration tools and version control all help to ensure high quality content. And ultimately, that leads to higher rates of learner adoption and usage. Okay, so how can we use a rich text editor to capitalize on the opportunities, minimize the challenges, at the end of the day, make your life easier? So kind of going with learning and how we learn to put things together, let's go with a building block analogy. So think of each one of these bricks as a single feature of a rich text editor. You have things like font formatting, image uploading, spell checking, whatever you need. And just like you can with a big old box of Legos, you can build anything you want. A simple set, a small building, to the most complex content creation and management system that you would like. A modular architecture allows you to pick and choose the exact features you need for your project, while giving you the flexibility to create any sort of custom creations or extensions that fit your particular business case. And when you get that right, you can make something amazing. This still astounds me. We've used this particular Lego typewriter as a giveaway at some of our in-person events. And when you build things the right way, it just looks like art. Now, what you do have to watch out for are sometimes a collection of building blocks is really exciting. But if they don't fit together in just the right way, if they create gaps that you have to then spend time filling in, you can create a really nice tall structure, but it may be a little shaky. There are tools out there that seem like they're great, they're cheap, they plug in the way you need them to for a while, but then maintenance and support and really just reliability could cause you to experience a tower crash. And so that's important for you to think through the reliability of the components. I mean, you're all developers. We all like to really create fun new things, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel for something that seems fairly utilitarian. TinyMCE can be initialized with a few lines of code, works out of the box. We integrate with over 12 different frameworks, including a lot of the most popular ones we're going to be talking about during this event. And we have over 400 different APIs. Makes it very easy for you to integrate with whatever solution you're building. Again, in this case, we're talking about an LMS, and gives you the flexibility and customization power you need to then get about the business of innovation, which really I think is why a lot of us get into technology, right? We're excited about creating something new, something interesting. And keep it simple. A familiar UI keeps users focused on features rather than trying to find what they are and figure them out. So let's spend a few minutes now talking about what are our building blocks. If we're building an LMS, we need to cover the basics. Really no sense in going over all of these, but we would expect to be able to format fonts, insert media, stylize different blocks as a quote or a code snippet, insert images, text patterns. You get the idea. Basic text editing. Now, where things get exciting is what can you then add to that? And these are all features that exist. They're very easily initialized and turned on, again, with very little code. So you can have that functionality and build the rest of your system around it. First one I'm going to talk about is PowerPaste. I think any of us that have been working with web content for a while have gotten used to, or at least I know I have, the copy from a Word document, a website, and before we go paste it into something else, paste it into a plain text editor, strip all the formatting out so we can paste it in, and things aren't going to go wonky with little errant tags. PowerPaste eliminates the need for all of that. You can grab any content, copy it from Word, Excel, Google Docs, any other internet sources without breaking the formatting and the underlying HTML. It gives your users a clean paste experience and improves their overall satisfaction with the activity. Now, with templates, very important in LMS, you're going to have maybe course lessons, syllabi, things that content creators don't want to type over and over and over again. You can define a template, put it into a menu structure, have it easily pasted into the editor so it can be customized for a particular class or for a particular lesson. Other uses, it's also great for, form emails, documents, anything where you need sort of a standardized approach. Image editing, it's 2024. I think having to, a lot of us have had to edit images before we put them into some sort of an application or content. Our enhanced image editing feature allows users to put an image into the content, resize it, rotate it, crop it, pretty much everything you would expect to do in a more fully featured sort of a desktop application. Tables. We just want tables to work, right? If you have a table in a document, you expect to be able to kind of sort it, move it around, add a column here without really having to get into the code that much. And so we take a basic HTML table, extend it, giving a content creator the ability to create as much complexity as they need to communicate the sorry, I had a really early meeting this morning to create the features that they need. Media embeds as well. Rather than having to go in and get the embed code, we don't want our content creators to do that. We want them to be able to just, again, grab what they need, paste it in. The system will do the rest. We support over 1,800 different media sources, making it simple and easy to present content in a very clean and efficient way. Now, if we're talking academia, there's a lot of content to organize. When you're putting together an LMS, you want to make sure that your content creators can have maybe long lessons, but then have those summarized easily. A table of contents module, pretty much just like you would find in Word, will look at different headers, H1 through H6 tags, and grab those and quickly create a table of contents on the fly that is also auto-updated as you go through the content and continue to add things. Pretty much all these features, as we're looking at them, are all about sort of content power-ups. It's giving your users the ability to create dynamic content that not only looks good, but is engaging and will keep a learner active on the page for longer. Math equations. This is actually a relatively new feature for us. There are third-party tools out there that are very good at creating math equations and content, but you do have to do some integration work. This is a native feature that allows a content creator to go in using LaTeX or MathML to present a formula in a very easily read way in the content along with the rest of the explanatory information. And then who doesn't love a good footnote? If you're an academic, you've got to cite everything. The a footnote module lets your users add them in the same way they're used to from popular apps like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And then those can be positioned and styled as desired. Styling really can be up to you with any of this. There are standard layouts and, we have default fonts and menu options, but everything you see here is customizable. All right, so now that we've talked about content power-ups, let's talk about things that you want to think about when you're looking at a rich text editor in terms of user experience. Sometimes you have a very, very complex document or sets of content, and you want your user to be able to see that exactly as they're editing. You want to see how it's going to look when they're done. Multi-root editing eliminates the need to preview documents. It loads the entire document into your editor, giving your users an exact one-to-one representation of their edits and what's being published. So that allows them to publish with more confidence because they know that the content inside the editor is the exact same way it's going to look outside of the editor. And it still allows you to retain full structural control because you can specify which parts of the content are editable and which parts are more view only. And you can see that through this design right here. Spell checker. I mean, these spell checkers almost table stakes, but a really smart, intuitive spell checker just takes a lot of headache out of someone's day. This particular feature helps you have globally consistent spelling across multiple languages. It recognizes, I believe, the last count up to 22 languages plus medical terminology. And you are able to add your own words with custom dictionary support. So it's a great user experience. It also helps if you're any sort of a regulated industry, or if you're producing educational content on a regulated industry, on legal content, on medical. It helps to keep things compliant, as does an accessibility checker that gives you automated checks on, what are increasingly become legally mandated ways to present content, so it's available to the widest group of people possible. Okay, last couple of features, then we're going to kind of recap, have a few minutes for questions. Next level functionality. Now, importing and exporting don't necessarily seem next level, but you don't always see them in a rich text editor in a web component. So having the ability, not only, we looked at Power Paste earlier, but having the ability to import whole documents from Word. And again, depending on your workflow, you may have a lot of legacy content stored as Word docs. This gives you the ability to easily import them into the editor, be able to manipulate them, and then with the export functionality, you can export those out as well to Word or PDF for sharing, and know that you're not going to lose any formatting fidelity on either side of the process. It'll import cleanly and export cleanly, and what you see on the page will be what you see on the screen, and vice versa. Okay, our last feature that really helps from a content creation standpoint anywhere, but especially in learning management, AI. It's everywhere these days. People expect it to be anywhere it's not very soon. And while there are, there's plenty of room for that technology to develop. We're very familiar with it already, even with it being a slightly less mature technology in text content creation. So the AI assistant feature creates a bridge between the editor and your AI service provider of choice. We currently support connections to Microsoft Azure, OpenAI, Google Gemini, and Amazon Bedrock. You use your authorization credentials to connect the editor to your service provider via their APIs. And then once connected, you can use our pre-written prompts or write your own to do everything that we expect AI to help us do. Automate tedious work, shorten and lengthen copy, kill writer's block, right? Give me thought starters for the following topic, right? And it gets us going, and then we're able to take off from there. Unjumble notes, summarize, all the fun UI stuff. So I think I am almost at my 20 minutes of presentation. Before I'm just got a couple more slides, and then we'll have questions. So there are a lot of building blocks out there. We have a ton in our editor. When you're looking at a rich text editor, again, things that you want to consider, because you have to look. There are all sorts of considerations. We look at price. We look at security. Again, our technology has been around for a long time, and it's rock solid. We are the only SOC 2 Type 2 compliant editor on the market today. We've been doing this for a long time and know how to support enterprise teams with our support team, our customer success team as well. And our whole goal, our reason for being, is to take care of basics that are complex, but that are still sort of basics, so you can get to market faster. And then you focus on what your real secret sauce is, and not worrying about, if a certain piece of text can be easily bolded and footnoted, and all of the things from there. All right, last slide. I mentioned that we are going to be in Frontend Nation, at Frontend Nation, over the next couple of days. We'd love for you to join Marina, our developer relations and community manager. She's on a panel on the 6th, exploring life as a DevRel. And then the 7th, she's going to be running a Forge a Day exercise that focuses all on building an LMS with React and OpenAI integration. So that's really, a longer session. Get your hands dirty, get in there, learn how everything wires up really quickly and really simply. And with that, I am going to stop talking and see if there are any questions.
Yay! For questions, not for you to stop talking. I would like to know the answer.
Yay! Yay! It was a great presentation.
Okay, as long as you knew it was that and not to stop talking. All right, let me get to the questions. First up, we have, what are some of the common challenges developers might face when integrating TinyMCE into an LMS?
From an integration standpoint, from an initialization, all of those basic things I showed you are not really challenges. They're once you have the code in there, I think it's going to be, what do you want to build around that? It's thinking through how do you interact? How are you going to register? And I'm not just talking about features. How does that, connect your registration information to the content someone is consuming? How are you tracking things? How are you going to apply grading? Those are really all the things we don't do. But at the end of the day, simply consuming content, outputting content, storing, that is one thing. Figuring out storage. We have storage options, but a lot of our customers tend to, they want to use their own S3 buckets or whatever that is. So you have to do a little bit of wiring there. Honestly, outside of that, it's not too complicated.
All right. And just as a reminder for everyone, we are doing a poll right now. So it's right next to the Q&A. So make sure you fill that out. And next question, is TinyMCE planning to replace Notepad++ in coming future?
No plans there. So Notepad, not as a standalone at all. Our business model is that we're a JavaScript component for you to place into your web apps. Now you could create a Notepad++ replacement with TinyMCE. We'd love that. We'd love to talk to you about it. Just go over to our booth and sign up. We'll have a chat.
Yay. And let's see. Does it work with PHP Code Igniter?
Yes. Like I said, we work with 12 different frameworks. I know PHP isn't really a framework, but yeah, we're native JavaScript. So anywhere you can utilize that, you can utilize us.
Sweet. Yay. Let's see. Can you give some other example of common use cases for TinyMCE?
Yeah, our most common use case is content management system, which also is, one of the more general descriptions out there. So if you have content that you're wanting to do, we're used in WordPress as an example, Shopify. So anywhere you're needing to create, edit, manage blocks of text, then we're there. A lot of our customers have used us for internal email management systems and document management systems. So if you're in a legal profession, you might using that template module, load up a contract template, customize it, save it off, or spit it out as a PDF, however you need to make that work for your workflow.
Very cool. And last questions. What advanced features of TinyMCE do you think are underutilized?
Well, they're probably our newest ones, honestly, and that's just because people. So AI Assistant came out late last year. Earlier this year, we had the document import and export, and one that I didn't get a chance to show is revision history. And so that's being able to take two different versions of content, right, and basically see the red lines and being able to, and that's our beginning of getting into more. We're still working out the details, but suggested edits, more of a track changes type functionality. But today you can do that comparison and then move from one to the other. And so we're excited for people to try that out and start using it more.
Very cool. And it looks like we actually got a couple more questions come up. So, and I think is it Marina's last talk at, I think it was Next Nation, talked about the revision history.
I
Uh,
think so. Yes, I know
I
we
feel
did.
like
Yeah,
it was
NG
a really good
conference.
talk either
Yeah,
way. But
she's
I'm like,
great. Everyone should go see Marina later.
yeah, I'm like, I feel like I remember asking her these questions last time, but it's been like 6 months. So I'm like, maybe. All right. How does Tiny MCE differ from TipTap, leaving aside AI portion of things?
That's a great question. So, TipTap is great for when you want to do a lot of high customization, which you can also do with Tiny MCE, but Tiny doesn't require it. You once you have it in there and initialize, you can set up the menu and instantiate plugins with literally just a word. Some of them require a little more customization than others, but most everything works straight out of the box. It's very simple. It's very rock solid and scales very quickly and easily, as much as you need.
Very cool. And I believe this is the last one now. Well, we'll see. But what do you do with images? Do you inline them as SVGs?
You know, I'm going to defer that because I don't know the exact answer to that. I again,
Fair
product
enough.
marketer. Yeah, that would be a great question for Marina in the Forge session. And I will research that though and put it in the chat at our booth later if you want to go into there as a follow up, or just hit me up with that and I'll get the answer for you. Now, if I can circle back around that one question about TipTap
Yeah.
again, we're the only SOC 2 Type 2 compliant editor on the market today. So if you're in an enterprise that cares about security, which is pretty much all of them, or a regulated industry, then that is definitely something that is important to look at.
And we had a last minute edition of, does Tiny MCE have any roadmap to implement drag and drop feature?
Drag and drop. I know I can't ask a follow up, but I'm going to assume drag and drop images. Maybe we're always looking at improving
Mhm.
our UI and our user experience. So yeah, the more that we can make things intuitive and modern, we're always looking to do that. I don't have a specific roadmap item in mind right now, but yes, we're implementing things like that in the future.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. We
Thank
greatly
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
It's been a pleasure.